one of the things that I see instantly is we have often this expectation that we take on board of who we think we need to be, who the world perhaps thinks we should be, maybe who we think a partner wants us to be. So where I want to kind of go first of all is, what do you actually think prevents us from being a great partner? And if I pull that term back, what prevents us being, kind of the partner that we can be in a relationship?
What prevents us? I mean, I think there's a couple interesting intersections there. One is that, I mean, we are socialized. If we're speaking, are we speaking in the context of men or just in general?
Yeah, let's go in general, and then we can specify if we
Yeah.
need to.
Well, I think regardless of gender, we're socialized however we identify to be a certain way.
Yeah.
And because of that, we're sort of under the constructs of that, the parameters or the rules of engagement of what sort of behaviors are normal or not normal, what role should I take in a relationship, which ones are sort of not accessible or not celebrated or maybe even shamed. And then you have what we are told the world wants more of us, wants some more skills, more emotionality, more speaking more in the context of men in that one. And then you have what people actually choose, which is often in conflict with what they say they want. So, you might hear people say they want really emotionally intelligent, challenging partner, but then when they face one, they don't know what to do with it, and it makes them very uncomfortable. And so this whole idea that, let's add to that Disney lied to everybody. And so even this misconception that a partner is just going to get me and it's all just going to be easy once I figure out I choose the right person. And certainly choosing a good person is a very important component to relationship. I think it's a dangerous idea to think that once you choose the right person, then everything's easy. It might be easier with a good person, but it certainly depends how you define easy too. Because
that's relative to past experiences, feedback. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah, or what you witnessed in your parents.
Yeah, like if easy is your partner doesn't share their opinion ever and tell you how you can grow. I mean, some might define that as a great relationship.
Yeah.
And so we also have the evolving definition of what we want from relationship, which I think our generations want more from relationship, and they certainly can create more from relationship. And so I think that's a big challenge that we face compared to what we've been socialized to want and pursue.
Yeah. So there's a lot more, at the very least, curiosity and questioning around our relationships, how we're entering into them, and kind of what is possible for us. But then there was this thing that you said there, which was, like, regardless of all the other stuff, it might be easy, choosing the right partner. And it tends to have that weighting on one of the key things for our relationship is who I choose, which on some level disregards who I'm choosing to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So where does that part come in? How do we turn that mirror back on ourselves?
Yeah, I mean, the common denominator in all our relationships and our relationship outcomes is us. And so when we sort of look at the fault of our partner and the fault of whatever the world, and we're like, it's their fault that I can't create this relationship, but blah, blah, blah. I think so often we'll be like, I'm attracted to these kinds of people. And it's like, well, why are you a good match to those kinds of people? Like, what is it in the way you relate? Because if we're taking, like when my partner and I broke up for a period of time, I was never concerned that I'd not be able to create an amazing relationship with someone else. I wasn't attached to her having to be my partner, because I knew that if I found someone who wanted to create a deeply connected, growth-focused relationship, I just had to find someone who was interested in that, and then the two of us could communicate and create that thing. Because it's not sort of luck that creates it. It's what is it, that saying that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. And I think that's very applicable to relationship, because we were just joking before we hit record of like, I just got engaged, and you were like, well, how did it feel? I'm like, very different than the first time I got engaged. because I'm such a different person, and what I want from a relationship is very different. What I'm willing to bring is very different. My self-awareness is very different. So,
Yeah. And okay, let's explore that. As you said, that was 16 years difference. I mean, fuck, that's a long time. Holy shit.
some people get engaged
get
at
married at
16.
16. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay, what for you coming in, like, what did you bring and why were you bringing it with that first engagement?
Well, the first engagement, I was bringing what I was taught to bring, be a good provider, although I was 27. So I was a good provider at 27. I was caring, I was considerate, but I didn't have a lot of emotional depth. I wasn't really very aware of my wounding and how my fear of being hurt was holding me back from actually being seen. So, when I look back, I'm like, I never really even let my ex-fiance love me. I never really let her close. And today, that's ultimately the wounds that only took 16 years to navigate. Really, it's been a beautiful process of growth. And a lot of people do this within one relationship. I just happen to do it within the container of my own singledom and also a few other partners. So, very different mindset now. What I want from a relationship is very different. I remember when that engagement ended, I was like, how the fuck did I get here? Like, why did I get engaged when I didn't want to? So that shows you. And then
so why did you get engaged, do you think?
It was the next logical step. It was what you're supposed to do. I don't think this is specific to Catholicism, but in my Catholic school upbringing, it was like get married by 27, have kids by 30, and I was right on track. I got engaged at 27. So
yeah,
giddy up.
Yeah. So you clearly cared for this person, but there was a bit of that. This is what I'm supposed to do. Back to that expectation thing. Right.
Yeah. What I was taught, the story that I was taught to have my life unfold as. And so that prevents us from actually letting the life that we want, that is authentic to us, to actually unfold. The expectations of being in the story that everyone else is in, because then it justifies everyone else's story and your own. So it's this cyclical, symbiotic relationship that keeps generations going and systems going. And when you get into it, it's kind of all correlated to all systems.
Okay. How deep should we get into that system?
All right.
But I hear that, because I hear that in my own, like that line you said, the next logical step, right? Like removing everything else, it doesn't have much romance to it, does it?
No, it doesn't, does it?
You might have done it in a romantic setting and you got on the one knee, but if the reason behind it is the logical next step, that doesn't really connect to intention. Not a kind of grounded, chosen, purposeful, conscious love and creating something that is growing as a third body, as Francis Vella says, in terms of a relationship.